Dale Smithson loved two things, hunting and fishing. These were not just hobbies for him, they were his way of life, his escape from the world. He wasn't so crazy about people. Crowds made him uneasy and small talk felt like a chore. So, he spent most of his time alone in the woods. The forest was his sanctuary, a place where he could be himself without any pretenses. He knew every tree, every bend in the creek, every rustle in the leaves. The forest was like an old friend, familiar and comforting. But tonight, something was different. The air felt heavier, and the usual sounds of the forest seemed muted. A strange humming filled the air. Dale stopped dead in his tracks, his senses on high alert. He looked up at the sky. The stars seemed to swirl and dance, creating patterns he had never seen before. A cold dread crept down his spine. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. The forest, his safe haven, now felt like a trap, really wrong. He thought about running, but his feet felt like lead, as if the earth itself was holding him in place. His whole body froze. A beam of light shot down from the sky, piercing through the canopy of trees, engulfing him in its blinding light. He didn't even have time to scream. The light was all-consuming. And in that moment, Dale felt a sense of inevitability, as if he had been chosen for something beyond his understanding. The pain was unbearable. It felt like his body was being torn apart from the inside out, like nothing he had ever felt before. Every nerve in his body was on fire, and he couldn't escape it. It seemed to go on forever. Seconds felt like hours, and minutes felt like an eternity. Dale wanted to scream, to fight back, but he was helpless. His limbs felt like they were made of lead. He could just lie there, his body trembling, as the creatures continued their work. He felt their cold, unfeeling hands on his skin. He saw needles, bright lights, heard strange clicks and whirs. The sounds were alien, mechanical, and deeply unsettling. Whatever they were doing to him, it was invasive, terrifying. He felt violated. His mind screamed for it to stop, but his body couldn't respond. Time lost all meaning. He drifted in and out of consciousness. Each time he woke, the nightmare continued. Images flashed before his eyes, strange landscapes, unfamiliar beings. It was like a twisted slideshow of horrors. He thought he was going crazy. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The silence was deafening. The creatures disappeared. The light vanished. He was plunged into darkness, left to grapple with what had just happened. Dale was left alone on the cold metal table, his body throbbing, his mind reeling. He felt broken, both physically and mentally, unsure if he would ever recover from this ordeal. The next thing he knew, he was back in the woods. The sun was rising. He lay on the forest floor, covered in dew, his clothes ripped and dirty. He felt weak, nauseous. His entire body ached. He stumbled to his feet, looked around. Everything seemed normal, but Dale knew it wasn't. Something had happened to him, something horrible. He had been abducted, probed, violated. He thought about telling someone, but who would believe him? He'd be laughed out of town, called crazy. He decided to keep it to himself, a dark, terrifying secret. Section 4. Back for more. Days turned into nights. Dale tried to forget, tried to go back to his normal life. But the memory of that night haunted him. The pain, the fear, the feeling of helplessness. He couldn't escape it. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. He jumped at every sound. Every shadow seemed to hold a lurking alien. He was a prisoner in his own mind. Then, one night, it happened again. The humming, the swirling stars, the blinding light. Dale was furious. This time he wouldn't be a victim. This time he would fight back. Section 5. Dale fights back. They dragged him back to the table, strapped him down, but Dale was ready. He had a plan. A desperate, crazy plan. He had been biding his time, waiting for the right moment to strike. The aliens thought they had broken his spirit, but they were wrong. He waited until the creatures were close, their large black eyes staring at him with cold curiosity. He could feel their breath, sense their anticipation. Then he exploded into action. He thrashed against the restraints with all his might, muscles straining and veins bulging. The table creaked under the pressure of his struggle. He headbutted the creature closest to him, using every ounce of strength he had left. He heard a sickening crunch as its skull caved in, the sound echoing through the sterile room. The other creatures screeched in surprise, their high-pitched wails filling the air. Dale ripped one of the metal instruments from the table and swung it like a club, his movements fueled by adrenaline and sheer willpower. They backed away, hissing and spitting, their confidence shaken by this unexpected turn of events. They hadn't expected this kind of resistance from a simple human. They underestimated him, and now they were paying the price. This gave Dale the opening he needed. He saw a gap in their formation, a chance to escape. He broke free from the restraints, his wrists raw and bleeding, but his spirit unbroken. Grabbed a heavy rock from the floor, its weight reassuring in his hands. He was a man possessed, driven by the primal urge to survive and fight back against his captors. His eyes burned with a fierce determination, and he knew that he would not go down without a fight. Dale's triumphant escape. With sheer determination and newfound strength, Dale fought back fiercely, his movements swift and precise. He had managed to grab one of the aliens' advanced weapons, a sleek metallic device that pulsed with an eerie blue light. Armed with this alien technology, he became an unstoppable force. He fought with a ferocity that surprised even himself, each strike more powerful than the last. The aliens, once confident in their dominance, now fell one by one. Dale's resolve was unbreakable. He would not be a victim any longer. He managed to kill the last of the aliens, their bodies strewn across the sterile room, a testament to his will to survive. With the immediate threat eliminated, Dale turned his attention to the alien craft. Its controls were strange, but his determination fueled his understanding. He quickly familiarized himself with the alien technology, his mind racing with the possibilities. With a triumphant grin, he activated the craft, its engines humming with power. The craft lifted off smoothly, the alien landscape shrinking beneath him. Dale set a course for Earth, his heart pounding with exhilaration. As he flew, a thought struck him, a peaceful day at his secret fishing spot. The idea brought a smile to his face, a stark contrast to the chaos he had just endured. Within moments, he was back on Earth, the alien craft now hidden away. Dale stood at the edge of the tranquil lake, fishing rod in hand, the calm waters reflecting the blue sky above. He cast his line, the ripples spreading outwards, a symbol of his hard-won freedom. The epic battle was over. But Dale knew his journey was just beginning. He was no longer just a man lost in the woods. He was a survivor, a warrior, ready for whatever came next. As he sat by the lake, the sun setting in the distance, Dale took a deep breath, savoring the peace he had fought so hard to reclaim. And there, in the quiet of his secret fishing spot, Dale found a moment of serenity, a brief respite from the chaos, knowing that he was finally free.